Chapter 14. How Amadis came to the castle of Dardan the Proud, and of the words which he had with him, and of the battle which he had with him in the court of King Lusart. Amadis, after he left Urganda, rode on through the forest till he was benighted. After some time he saw a light above the trees, and rode towards it, thinking to find lodging. He came at length to a goodly fortress, wherein were the lights that he had seen, which were from the window of a tower, and he heard voices of men. And women singing and making mirth. He called at the gate, but they heard him not, and at last those in the tower saw him through the battlements, and a knight asked, "Who was there?" "A strange knight." "So it seems," quoth he, "you must be a strange knight to go about in the dark. I believe it is for fear lest you should be obliged to do battle with us by daylight, and now you can meet none but the devils." Amadis answered, "If you were good for anything, you would know that many are benighted who cannot help it." "Begone," quoth the knight, "you shall not enter here." "As God shall help me," said Amadis, "I think thou hast no man of valor in thy company. Tell me thy name before we part. That shall I do on condition that whensoever we meet thou wilt fight me." To that Amadis, who was in wrath, readily assented. "Know then that my name is Dardan, and badly as thou wilt fare this night, thou wilt fare much worse the day that I shall meet thee." "Come out," quoth Amadis, "let them light us by the torches to do battle." "What," said Dardan, "arm myself at this hour to fight with thee? Ill fall the knight who should put on his spurs and harness for such an enemy." And with that he went in. Amadis proceeded through the forest, seeking some bush under which he might shelter himself. Presently he heard voices, and proceeding faster he came up to two damsels on their palfrey, attended by a squire. They saluted courteously, and Amadis recounted his adventure. "Know you the knight's name?" said they. "He told me it was Dardan." "True, he is called Dardan the Proud, the haughtiest knight in the country. But, sir, seeing that thou art so unprovided of lodgings, will you abide this night in our tents, which are pitched near at hand?" He, glad of their courtesy, rode with them, and having there alighted, he unarmed, and when the damsels saw how fair he was, they delighted to see him. So they supped cheerfully together, and a tent was spread for him wherein he should sleep. Meantime they asked him whither he was bound. "To the court of King Lusart." "And we are going there also, to see what will happen to a lady, one of the best and noblest in the land. All that she hath in the world is put upon the issue of combat, which is to be performed within 10 days before King Lusart. We know not who will appear to defend her, for he against whom the champion must fight is the best knight in Great Britain, that very Dardan the Proud, whom you so lately left." "And on what cause," said Amadis, "arise the combat?" "This Dardan loveth the daughter of a knight, who at his second nuptials married the lady I speak of. Now hath this damsel conceived such hatred against her stepmother that she has vowed never to love Dardan unless he bring her to King Lusart's court, and affirm that all her stepmother's goods appertain to her, and maintain it by battle against whoever dare gainsay. And the dame, who was not well advised, said she would produce a champion, and this she did for her manifest right, thinking that one would be found to combat for her. But Dardan is so good as a knight in arms, that be it for right or wrong, all fear him." These tidings rejoiced Amadis, for the knight was against all pride, and now he might indulge his own anger in a just cause, and that in the presence of Oriana. "I pray ye, sir," said one of the damsels, "for courtesy acquaint us with the reason of your sudden amusing." "Willingly, if you will promise me, as loyal damsels, not to reveal it. I mean," quoth he, "to combat for the lady. Gentle, sir, that thought proceedeth from a high resolved mind. God grant it good issue." So gave they each other a good night, and went to rest. In the morning the damsel entreated that he would not leave them, seeing that they were bound to one place, and that in the forest kept men of evil behaviour. They rode along with sundry discoursing, and among other talk they asked the knight, since God had placed them in company, that he would tell them his name, the which he did, but charging them to let none know it. So they proceeded through unfrequent ways, lodging in their tents, regaling on the food they took with them. At length they saw two knights under a tree, armed and on horseback, who seeing them placed themselves in the way, one saying to his companion, "Which of these damsels will you have?" "This," quoth he, and seized the one, as his comrade did the other. "What, sirs," quoth Amadis, "what manner of behaviour is this? What would ye do with the damsels? Make them our mistresses." "So lightly you think to win them?" he said, and took his helm and shield and lance. "Now release them." The one knight met him bravely and broke his lance, but Amadis gave him such an attaint that he laid with his heels upwards. The second came on and pierced through his arms and slightly wounded Amadis. He, on his part, failed with his lance, but shields and horses met, and Amadis seized him and plucked him from the saddle and dashed him down, and then rode on with the damsels. When at length they came near Windsor, Amadis said, "Fair friends, I would remain in secret here till such time as the night come to the combat, and when the hour is, let your squire bring me hither tidings thereof." "Sir," quoth the damsels, "if it please you, we will remain with you." So they pitched their tents apart from the road by the river side. Meanwhile Amadis went upon a little eminence to look at the town, and there he sat under a tree, and looked towards the tower and the high walls, and he said in his heart, "Ah, God, the flower of the world is there, and thou city containest now the lady that hath no peer for goodness and beauty, and who is more loved than all others that are loved, and that I would prove upon the best knight in the world." And in these thoughts the tears trilled down his cheeks, and he sat heedless of everything about him. But Gandalin, who saw a troop of knights and ladies coming up, called to him, and asked him if he did not see that company. He neither heard nor answered. With that Gandalin took him by the arm. "So help me God, sir, you afflict yourself more than needed is. Take courage as you do in other things." "Ah, Gandalin," quoth he, "you had better counsel me to die than to endure this hopeless sorrow." Then could not the squire refrain from lamenting, "This excessive love is a great misfortune. As God shall help me, I do not think there is any one, how good and beautiful soever she may be, who can equal your worth, or whom you might not have." At this was Amadis greatly enraged. "Go, idiot," said he, "how dare you talk so madly? If ever again you repeat such thoughts, you shall go no farther with me." "Dry your eyes," said Gandalin, "and let not them who coming see you thus." It was the lady coming to her trial, weeping and lamenting as she went, for there was none to defend her right.